So, can you tell me your name?
I'm Rosemary Jacobson.
And what are you doing here at Casa Goofy International?
I'm here with 3 people right now, and we're working to accomplish a few projects like getting the aquaponics pond set up and increasing our animal flock and renovating the dome house. But primarily, I'm really here to kind of facilitate a certain kind of intentional conversation about, here specifically it's about urban living and urban survival, and not only growing your own food but also connecting yourself with all of the infrastructure around us, like the food bank and backyard garden groups. And I've lived some places that are really rural and there's no infrastructure like that. Like, we were able to get donations from the co-op and just to really maximize kind of a sustainable lifestyle, but to involve the local community as much as possible. Thanks.
So speaking of the local community, what is the support like? Do you have support from the neighborhood, from the city? Are you running up against issues with city ordinances, with utilities, things like that, insurance? I mean, what are the pros and cons of being here and trying to do what you're doing?
Well, it varies from city to city, but we have some allies, certainly, and people who are trying to build in a different way. But we've certainly had issues with code, with things like the amount of water, or, for example, in Tucson, you can't have a large solar set up without it being an installation, and you have to have a permit for that. And it's things like this that kind of discourage people who are trying to experiment in different ways of creating their own needs for themselves. And we've partnered with some memberhood associations, and in Tucson they're actually really strong here. But it's kind of an ongoing battle to get the city to kind of see issues of, for example, we had a big flood here, and there's an alleyway where they haven't dug a ditch in 30 years, which is used for the stormwater, and they haven't done anything about it, and it's caused huge floods and lots of costly damage in this neighborhood. And so we have a petition circulating right now to help them either just do something about it or to give the land over. And it's certain constraints doing a project like this in a city, certainly has to do with code. So it's a little bit of like doing it anyway and just seeing if you can get away with it, and a little bit of trying to go the route of petitions and working with the neighborhood.
Yeah, rather than ask permission, ask for forgiveness later, kind of deal.
Yeah, a little bit of both, because you don't want to be totally dictated by a somewhat archaic system, and if you really are trying to be experimental and do something, you should just go for it.
Well, there is that, like Martin Luther King kind of approach where it's like, if the law doesn't make sense, you can quietly say, I'm not going to follow this law. It's like in my hometown, I was telling you, we have a rural community surrounding the town, and yet in city limits, I'm not allowed to keep chickens in my yard. Mm-hmm. Not roosters, just chickens. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking of doing it anyway, mm-hmm. with the consent of my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And knowing that we live next to a train track and we're really not going to draw a lot of attention to ourselves, and if nobody knows and nobody around us cares, and we, I don't know, buy them off in eggs.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's being hurt by it?
Yeah.
No one's being hurt by me breaking this ordinance, and in fact, I can benefit the local community. Mm-hmm. Maybe donate the eggs to families I know who are struggling, mm-hmm. Neighbors who I know are low income and maybe can't afford good quality eggs, because, mm-hmm. The eggs you buy at the store sometimes come from questionable
Absolutely.
sources. So yeah, I like that approach. I think mm-hmm. you guys, it's a really cool place, like walking through here. I'm just, everywhere I look, there's something odd and unique. You can tell that you've had a lot of creative people come through mm-hmm. here. What do you have to say about how creativity, or human creativity, can help us, survive in the future?
Yeah, I think creativity is absolutely necessary for survival, and I would say that I believe that every person is absolutely capable of being an artist. I mean, I believe that even peeling a potato can be art, and it's all about intention and skill in a way. And so if art doesn't have to be painting or putting on a play, you know, it really can just evolve into every single thing you do. And this is an interesting place where Dennis, the guy who built the place, you know, he's used this as his it's kind of like a testing zone. He's got an inventor brain, and he's got all sorts of weird things, a lot of things that haven't worked, but it's really amazing to see the process and just the confidence to try it. And so I think for anyone who feels like they're not artistic or creative, it's all about just
trying anyway,
you know, and being intentional in how you build or create anything, and kind of adding your own piece to that, because that really creates a better world for everyone to live in, and that helps innovation.
So the idea for the future of this place is once the Dome House is done being renovated, you're actually going to open it up as a hostel?
Yeah, I mean, right now we have a woofer program here, and ideally we'd like the upstairs of the Dome to be an international hostel run through Airbnb, because they provide a lot more protection than you would need without it. And then have a couple living downstairs or in one of the buses, and downstairs can either be a living space, or ideally we'd love for it to be a co-op art space because of concrete floors. You want to hold my hand? Yeah, I'd love for it to be an art co-op because we have a fully functioning workshop here with welding, like any sort of tool that you could ever use, and quite a few of ceramic materials as well. So if we could even just get 20 people to come use the space, I think it's a really great way to not only have an art studio, but a place where people can do collective art projects, because I'm all about more people working together, because more minds, you know, you have to learn how to collaborate. It's definitely a skill, and I think it's a really important one. So if you want to start with art, then hopefully it can, you know, transpose to your personal life or politics or whatever. It's just all about learning how to work together to create something.
It looks like, too, if say, I know some artists where I live, if they wanted just to come for a month to have an intentional month of creation and learning and sharing with you, that you are set up to accommodate that, right?
Yep.
Or people like you thought you were going to stay a few weeks, and now you're here, how many months?
4 months, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you can find us, we have a woofing site, Casa or on the internet, and we're set up to have people here year-round, and there's a lot of space for personal projects. It's not a place where we necessarily meet together every day and just work on farming projects. It's really like an interesting place where people can, and Dennis really encourages this and requires that people who come here have a personal project and complete it, because that's really important. You know, and he's all about art and nature, and he's a performance artist himself, and he really allows a kind space and an openness for trying out things, even if they fail, and for personal exploration. So people are welcome to come here for a week or a month or 8 months. People have stayed for a long time, and Dennis also really supports income. If he can't pay for work, then he is more than willing to accommodate someone who has a part-time job. And the fact that we're in the city, there's a lot of supports here, so it's a really unique place where you can find.
Yeah, you can bike a lot of places. You don't even need a vehicle, it seems. So, kind of wrapping up here, what are some things you would maybe share with people who are interested in doing something like this, even on a smaller scale, in their own backyards, you know, creating sustainable ways of catching water, growing food, raising animals? What are some advice you might have for them?
I would say it's all about working with multiple people. Like, if you have one neighbor who's sort of interested in the garden, you can help them on their garden, and they can help you on yours, and you can split your abundance, and there's a lot of things that we already know, and something that I've even experienced and see frequently is that people feel the need to build and try everything just on their own, and there's a lot of common knowledge and very old knowledge that we've had in just even this country about how to live sustainably, and it's smart to work together and to really learn so you can avoid a lot of mistakes. My other advice is just to do it.
Just do it. Just
Yeah.
start, plant something.
Just start somewhere and
Get
get connected, because other people are doing it, and it's amazing what you can accomplish when you have the support of 20 people. They show up to your house and put in a garden. They do
Garden
that
party.
here. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right. Well, and then one more question: where do you see yourself and this place in the next 3 to 5 years?
I've certainly toyed with the idea of being here and committing myself full time. If I'm not, I'll probably be working on something somewhat similar, but closer to my family, which is in the Northeast. Mm-hmm. But I see this place it's been open to people for about 10 years, so it's has a steady flow, and a lot of things can change, and I think that's a really great thing, because there's a lot of opportunity, and I hope that the hostel and everything is going by that point. But
me too.
Yeah,
I hope to come stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, Rosemary, for letting me interview you and for giving us this awesome tour. We actually took my 2-year-old son, and he loved it. The goats and the chickens and really just all of the sights to see. So if you want to check out Casa Goofy International, what's the best way to find you?
We have a couple websites. We have a Casa Goofy International Wix website. You can just Google us. We're on the Woofing website, and we also have a Facebook.
Yep, and I met you on Instagram.
Yeah, and Instagram. Yeah, I forgot. That's
Great.
new to me. But
well, reach out to them or reach out to me, the Chakra Lady. You can follow me on Instagram. I have a Facebook page, and soon coming the website, thechakralady.com. So thank you for listening, and go plant something.